I want to thank the organizers for focusing this summit on women, which is a rare thing. Usually it's a mixed audience. And I want to thank Dr. Monisha for her wonderful, energizing session. Yes. And Seema for all the passion. Did you see the passion in her voice? Fantastic. It was really, really, um, you know, absolutely. I have no words to say. It was so, I mean, I was so spellbound by what she said. So fantastic. Full marks to you. Okay, so before I tell you, you got this. About how I reached here, I want to read you one of the best posts that I have read about women. So I just thought I'll share it with you. Can you hear me? Yeah, now, yeah. So when God created woman, he was working late on the 10th day. An angel came by and asked, why spend so much time on her? The Lord answered, have you seen all the specifications I have to meet to shape her up? She must function on all kinds of foods. She must be able to embrace several kids at one time. She should be able to give a hug that can heal, and anything from a bruised knee to a broken heart. And she must do all these things with only two hands. The angel was impressed. Just two hands? Impossible. And this is the standard model. So he comes close and he touches the woman that God is creating. You have made her so soft, O Lord. She is soft, said the Lord. But I have made her strong. You can't imagine what she can endure and overcome. Can she think? The angel asked. The Lord answered, not only can she think, she can reason and negotiate. The angel touched her cheeks. Lord, your creation is leaking. You've put too many burdens on her. She's not leaking, that's a tear. The Lord corrected the angel. What's that for? Asked the angel. The Lord said, tears are her way of expressing her grief, her doubts, her love, her loneliness, her suffering, and her pride. This made a big impression on the angel. Lord, you're a genius, he said. You thought of everything. A woman is indeed marvelous. The Lord said, indeed she is. She smiles when she feels like crying. She sings when she feels like screaming. She cries when she's happy, laughs when she's afraid. So she is perfect, said the angel. The Lord said, no, she has one drawback. She often forgets what she's worth. So let's hear it for the organizers to make us feel that we are worth it. Can we hear some claps for the organizers? I want to thank the organizers for having me here on this wonderful occasion where we are all gathered to celebrate women leaders in various fields. So according to, does this move? Yeah, so I've been asked to talk on importance of nutrition, fitness and wellness for women in India, which means rural India as well as urban India. So according to scholars, your tapping is not working properly. Can I just, yeah. Sorry, these buttons don't work, but I'll just try. So, according to scholars, women in ancient India enjoyed okay, I'll try this. Equal status with men. That was in ancient India. They were educated in the Vedic period. They got married at a mature age, and they were free to select their own husband. Today, women in India face some alarming statistics related to their health, like Seema just told us, and that is directly connected to their stress, lifestyle, and nutrition. I'm sure you understand what it's like to be a successful woman in today's context. You have both career and family. You deal with an overbooked schedule. You put in long hours at work, maintain friendships, intimate relationships with spouse or mate. You strive to be the perfect partner, good mother, good sister, good daughter-in-law. You push hard to stay fit. It's no wonder that you feel exhausted all the time, trying to be everything to everyone. To add to this, women get off work to go home and begin the second shift. Even if you're not physically cooking food at home, you still are responsible for all the meals that come onto the table. You are responsible for the emotional environment in your house. Working women often underestimate how stressed they are. Most of them don't even realize this. So let's focus on what kind of stress is women are facing and what are the medical implications of this kind of stress. So they experience exhaustion. So you get exertional fever. Sometimes your head is spinning when you go back home, or you feel mildly feverish, maybe a 99 degrees, and you wonder why this is happening. It's called exertional fever. You're just tired. You may never seem to stop working and take any break, and you're totally unaware of the adverse effects of your hectic schedule is causing you. You may experience dryness, dryness of skin. So you need heavy moisturizing creams as you grow older. You may experience frequent cough, colds, infection, headaches. If you've had a heavy day in office, you may go home and experience a lot of uh, headache, and you just wonder why this has happened. It could be because of toxic overload. It could be because of um, um, mental stress which you've had with some colleague in office. It could be because you've had just too many coffees. So there's always a root cause of all these problems that most women face. You could have early morning stiffness, neck stiffness, body ache, excessive hunger. A lot of women experience uh, excessive hunger the moment they reach home. They say we can eat nothing all day, it's fine, but the moment we reach home, we feel like eating not only food, but a lot of sweets, a lot of savory, a lot of fried items, because this is your way of dealing with stress. Some of them experience weight gain, hair fall, acne, lackluster skin. Again, lackluster skin could be because of toxic overload, which is building in your liver because of the preservatives that you're consuming, the outside food that you're consuming. It could be those anti-caking agents which are used in processed and packaged foods, as well as uh, excess eating of refined carbohydrates. There could be n number of reasons as to why you have a lackluster skin. Menorrhagia, which means uh, excessive bleeding. Some women have uh, very heavy bleeding during certain months, and on other months they have delayed periods or prepone periods. All these are uh, byproducts of excessive stress and toxic overload. Allergies. Some women, they eat out in restaurants and suddenly break into hives, rashes, itchiness, and some of them have food cravings, which means they feel like eating salty food specifically. Or some women want to eat sweet food specifically. It could be after a meal, it could be after dinner. Now, these are not just feelings that you are getting, you are not born with them. This is because of a hormonal imbalance. As we grow older, your estrogen level is declining, the progesterone is also declining, and because of hormonal imbalance, because of toxic overload, you experience all these excessive hunger, excessive thirst, excessive food cravings. So this can be sorted out by using nutrition support. Health challenges faced by women in India. Now, whilst overweight and malnutrition are two uh, sides to Indian women today. Actually, the Indian population over here, amongst developing countries, India has the highest rates of malnourished women. 75% of pregnant women in our country are anemic, which is iron deficiency anemia. Our diets are extremely low in iron, folic acid, because of which we don't have adequate hemoglobin and we have iron deficiency anemia. This increases possibilities of birth defects in children. By the year 2020, it is said that 75% of the world's cancer cases will be coming from developing countries. So malignancies are going to increase, depression is going to increase because of ill health that most of us are facing in this country. In India, as of 2005, this is the data from 2005, it represents approximately 40% of HIV cases exist in India. Even the mortality rates for HIV are higher in India. Female mortality is higher in women than men. Why is that? Men are supposed to suffer more from cardiovascular diseases, but the mortality rate for women is higher. The reason is because of differential access to health care. Women don't consider themselves important enough to go to doctors and rectify their problems, and therefore female mortality is higher. Women who accept male violence may suffer from mental disorders. There's a higher rate of depression in women than in men. Again, the same reason, they consider themselves less valuable than men, thus reducing the ability to cope with mental disorders, because they don't go to a doctor, they don't take counseling, and they just stay in the mess that they are. So we have a double burden of malnutrition and obesity, which means undernutrition as well as overnutrition. Traditionally, India was known for malnutrition. Indians now report more and more frequently with obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, and its consequences. So about 18% of India reports malnutrition, about 17% reports, reports obesity, which is almost similar amount. So this transition from a starving world to an obese one is happening with tremendous speed. And there are more people today who are dying of eating too much food than too little. Childhood obesity is on the rise. Nearly one-fourth of the world's children population live in India. Now, if we allow them to eat junk food and drink colas, it will lead to an unhealthy adult population, and that will increase the already heavy disease burden of diabetes and heart disease in our country. Because we are the diabetic capital of the world, second only to China. 60% of the world's heart patients live in India. So we have a huge number of patients who are suffering from cardiovascular disease. And if we allow our children to eat all this kind of processed and packaged food, this will only add to the disease burden. Wrong food choices at a younger age can lead to high blood pressure. So you have younger, you had written an article called Young People with Adult Diseases. You have a lot of young children today who are diabetic, who have lot of hypertension problems at the age of 25. They have choked arteries, they have plaquing, and we put them on programs to detoxify and deplaque the system. So this is, we like earlier I never found all of this. In 1984, when I started consulting, which is almost 3 decades ago, we didn't find children coming so often for these, but now you find more and more children being affected with disease. So what's the solution? So there are some practical tips to stay right. Nutrition therapy supports almost every other pathy, whether it's allopathy, whether it's homeopathy, whether it's any other kind of Ayurveda. So the outcome of disease improves when you support your body with advanced nutritional therapies. So some of the things that we can do is whole green mung sprouts. Now this can be easily sprouted and kept in your fridge. It has a long shelf life. And when you go back home, instead of having the fried snacks and the chivdas and the packaged foods which most women love, you can make a nice, spicy, steaming, hot usal made out of sprouts tossed with onions and garlic and chilies, and have a bowl. It has an extremely low glycemic index, less than 30. Not only does it satiate you, it also gives you adequate fiber, which will remove constipation and all other problems. You will eat less for dinner because you're already full, and it will provide you with a whole lot of antioxidants, which are so beneficial to deal with the stressful day that you've had. So always keep a bowl of sprouts at home, and you can use it in soups. They're very versatile. You can use it in salads. They're rich in protein, rich in calcium, and they help, of course, boost your immunity as well as your they balance your blood sugar. So it's good for diabetics as well. Then we have jaggery. Most women love to have sugar in their tea, so you could substitute with jaggery. Now, the sugar content in sugar and jaggery is the same. The glucose fructose content is the same. Now, in table sugar, there is no nutrient. Whereas in jaggery, there's a lot of calcium and there is iron. So it's got more minerals. So it's always better to substitute. Calorie-wise, there may not be much of a difference, but at least you're eating something which is better. The easiest way to detoxify your liver, your colon, your blood, your lungs, is to begin drinking some vegetable juice every day. So different types of vegetables have different benefits. Cabbage juice can decrease acidity. Dudhi juice is again very alkaline. Any raw juice that you fancy, it could be a mixture, it could be separate juice like mint and coriander, like green juices. You could begin having a glass of vegetable juice every day. This is one of the simplest ways to recharge the system, to detoxify the system. Lemon juice is one of the first fruits that comes to my mind when for using for any medicinal purpose, because it's easily available, doesn't get rotten, has a longer shelf life, stays in your fridge forever. So it is a very alkaline way to detoxify the system. You could even mix it with coconut oil and amla juice and apply it to your hair in case you have hair fall. It helps to control hair fall. And coriander uh, is got chelating properties, which means that people who suffer from cardiovascular disease, who have plaqued arteries, this helps in deplaquing. So about 1/3 of a paste, you can use 1/3 of a glass paste of coriander, and you can dilute it with water, so it's drinkable. You can put some rock salt and lime and have it every day. So it will provide you a whole lot of minerals. Minerals, as in the main mineral you'll get is magnesium. Magnesium is the first mineral that gets out of your body when you're under stress. And when you don't have adequate magnesium, you're more prone to heart disease. So the easiest way to get back the magnesium that you've lost because of stress is by drinking a glass of any green juice, one of them being coriander juice. Then there are lots of others. There's wheatgrass juice, there's barley grass juice, there's mint and coriander. So you could use your imagination and just do all of that. So I'll just share with you how I learned a lesson very early in my practice, way back in 1984. And that is that food in its natural form, and that time I didn't know that it had so many healing properties and things. When you study nutrition, they do clinical nutrition. They don't teach you exactly which food will have what benefit, all of that. So this is all over the years one has discovered that natural food it has fantastic healing properties, and when it's used correctly, uh, in a combination with when you match it to body chemistry. That means when you match food therapy to body chemistry, it can restore health in a sick person. So this is something I learned very, very early in my practice. In those days, people used to come to me for losing weight, for instance. In 84, it was not such a fad that people go to nutritionists and, start following some kind of program. So there used to be those very important people who wanted to look after their health, and they would come in and they would have a whole lot of other problems like high uric acid, knee pain, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and we were only treating their body weight in those days. But we realized that soon after they finished the program, their knee pain disappeared. So they would come tell me, I don't have any more knee pain. I've stopped taking the painkillers. And then I started connecting it together in 84, 85, that this is fantastic. I mean, they just come for one problem. So food affects each and every, uh, it improves disease outcome. No matter what problem you have, the moment you eat right, because you are a representation of your own nutrition. You are a reflection of your own nutrition. Whatever you eat will reflect on you. So you've spent certain years eating certain types of foods. The moment you change it, the body says thank you, and it starts reflecting the new you. So it's important to understand the power of food. And when I understood this, when the patient lost weight, his knee problem normalized, his cholesterol reduced, his blood sugars, he stopped taking his anti-diabetic drugs, anti-hypertensive drugs. That's the time I realized that, uh, you know, I, I, I kind of took it upon myself to write this book, Healing with Food, because it had a huge impact on most of the patients. Eating restaurant food frequently and binge drinking, which our children do. They eat out 2, 3 times a week. They drink a lot. Uh, they into drugs. They take pot, cocaine. Children are into all kinds of things today. It is the most unhealthy way to live. It is the source of degenerative disease. You cannot trash and pollute your body with processed and packaged and convenience foods and expect to have perfect health in return. Even if you exercise regularly, sooner or later you will develop metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is not a disease by itself, but it gives you all the biomarkers for disease, which means your cholesterol levels go high, there's central obesity, there is borderline blood sugar, there's excessive thirst, excessive hunger, excessive irritability, excessive anger. These are all the signs which show that you are heading towards metabolic syndrome. So you must invest in your health. Don't take it for granted. Eat right. Find time to exercise. Sleep 3 hours after sunset, which means if the sun goes down by 7 o'clock, you should be in bed by 10, latest by 11. This practice will support your immunity, your hormones, your biorhythm, your energy levels, and you must sleep for a continuous 7 to 8 hours. Because all the repair work in your body takes place only at night. Because this information is going to alter your health and life for the better. Most people say what to eat, but you also have to know how much to sleep, because most of the detoxification takes place at night. So you must remember that when you are well nourished, well exercised, well rested, free of toxins, free of negative emotions, with a purpose in life, your health ratings will be very high. You will not fall prey to any disease. You may be sitting next to people who have cough, cold, fevers, dengue, tuberculosis, but you will not fall sick. And this will save you and your family a whole lot of trouble, because your health is truly your wealth. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Afternoon, preferably not. Preferably not, because the day is meant to work and night is meant to sleep.
Studying children, it becomes a little difficult, especially in class 11 and 12, to study to have a complete 8 hours continuous.
Right. See, the number of hours, actually, whether you study in the day or night, when you count it, when you calculate it, it's really the same. And children need longer. This is the adults I'm talking about.
Yeah.
7 to 8 hours of sleep to completely renovate the system, to charge your body again. Children need almost 9 to 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's for the younger children. What about 15, 16 years old?
Yeah, so 7 to 8 hours, but it is supposed to be a one stretch sleep. Yeah, because that is the time when all the repair work is happening, your liver is cleansing itself, and then, the food goes into the colon, and then you pass your stools. Because if you sleep less, you find that you're constipated. If you eat late, again you get constipated. If you eat non-veg at night, again you're constipated. So and people don't understand this. They just feel that they just go on life, having all these systems choked up. So sleep is important at one time together.
One more question. How healthy or unhealthy is Kellogg's cornflakes?
Anything packaged, anything processed should be avoided, and you should stick to home cooked food. Right? Again, that has a lot of conditions that apply.
You've talked about having raw food, also raw juices, right? The problem, particularly, I don't know about other parts of India, but I do know in Delhi, the vegetables, the raw vegetables that you get are often injected with all kinds of chemicals. I've seen this myself in Azadpur Mandi, and no less than that. Lokis that were like really chota lokis have become very big lokis and look very, very pretty. I've stopped eating watermelon in Delhi because it's always injected with saccharine. So, in fact, now there are probably, the latest trend is you want to stay healthy, actually don't have raw fruit or food at all. Cooked probably is much better because you don't know what insecticides the farmers have put, and you have no idea what injections the mandi has put.
Right. This is a question that is asked in every forum, so it's good that everyone benefits from this. See, the point is there are many religions, everyone follows their own religion. Right now, we take the center point, what is practical and what is really good for health. Whatever food you're consuming today is full of pesticides. Nobody is eating organic food, whether it's cooked or raw. You're still eating pesticide-laden, or it's got anti-caking agents, or it's got preservatives. So there's nothing called good food left anymore. Now, having said that, having raw juices still has the enzymes which can clean the system. So it's not that we are telling you to eat the entire day's food raw. You are eating your cooked lunch and you're eating your cooked dinner, but introducing raw vegetable juices, especially when they are washed, you can wash away the pesticides completely. And there are special vegetable washes available today, which also help in the same thing. There is vinegar solutions which you can do at home. You can prepare a vinegar solution, wash your vegetables in that, soak it in that for 15 minutes and wash it. So there are many ways to remove traces of chemicals and pesticides, and the benefits, there's research on that, the benefits of eating raw food is far greater than avoiding them in lieu of, being afraid that they're full of chemicals. Yes. That, is that answer? Yeah. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. If I may ask, there has always been this that Indians, our diet is actually not very protein rich.
That's right.
And many people have this connotation that we should not have protein at night. Can you clarify that?
Yeah. So it is food therapy that matches individual body chemistry, which is the medicine of the future. The future doctor will not give medicines anymore. He's going to give a diet. That's how the world of nutrition is going. It's called advanced nutritional therapies, or it's nutritional medicine. Okay? So, to answer your question, whether to have protein or not, so if there's an individual with metabolic syndrome, for instance, he cannot process carbohydrates because he's got metabolic syndrome, which means he's pre-diabetic. Okay, just so that everyone understands. So he should be avoiding carbs in the night. He can have his protein in the day, which is in the afternoon. Breakfast is the best time to introduce your protein. So you do protein in a 1:1 ratio. You have your eggs and toast, for instance, or you have your curd with sprouts, like a protein with carb ratio. Your lunch should be high fiber, moderate protein, because that's the time there's a dip in energy. Thanks to Monisha, we were all energized today, but usually there's a dip in energy in the afternoon. And when you take your protein, it helps the neurotransmitters in the brain, the norepinephrine, to reactivate itself, and you can work. If you've noticed, if you have a dal chawal lunch, you're sleepy. You have a curry chawal lunch, you have a biryani lunch, you're sleepy. But if you have sprouts and curd, you try it. Or you have a black chana salad with a soup, you're very energized. You're not sleepy at all. Because it's the protein which helps to build the same neurotransmitters, and you can go through the day sharply till the evening. So the protein time is morning. In the evening, you could have the good carbs. carbs. When you say the good carbs, it is high fiber, jawar rotis, or bajri rotis, or nachni rotis, any of this, with a lot of vegetables, a raw salad, and maybe some sprouts to go with it, or curd to go with it. So that's how you do your evening meal. And it's also serotonin releasing, which means when you have carbs, it releases serotonin, it lulls you to sleep, it calms your day, and you feel a lot better at that point. But we do different strokes for different folks. There could be another individual who cannot tolerate this kind of a combination. Yes. Yes. Right. 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 So there are some people who think they don't need much sleep. So we basically do a history taking, in the sense, are you energized during the day? Do you have enough, or are you irritable? Do you feel this time is short? Are you edgy in the day? So there's a whole lot of history taking when you talk about individual cases. We have been right now speaking about the general population. People should sleep for 7 to 8 hours, considering the amount of stress they are going through in the daytime. You need that much of sleep. There are, like, I read an article where this lady needed only 1 hour of sleep. So all the scientists went and figured her out, and they said yes, all her parameters were fine. Did you read that in the papers? It came out in the Times of India, and I was really intrigued. So she only needed 1 hour, and they did a case study on her, and they said she was perfect. There was nothing wrong with her. She was not irritable. Hormones were fine. Her biorhythms were fine, and her blood chemistry was also fine. So there are examples, maybe of one of them, but generally 7 to 8 hours of sleep if you don't have any other symptoms in the day, right?
Hello?
Sure.
I, being a doctor, I came in along a lot of cases of 7 metabolic syndrome disease with liver fibrosis. These are non-alcoholic patients. How important food you consider to be a cause of these diseases? Because 3/4 of patients having all the metabolic syndrome disease, it starts from uric acid levels, high protein levels. It turns up into the liver fibrosis, and ultimately goes in the pre-diabetic and in the cirrhotic stage. What's your opinion in this, to see that how much food is important? Some patients, some patients are absolutely non-alcoholic, absolutely finding their daily good regime of food and exercises. Still this happens. I would like to have your opinion. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is called the Indian paradox. We Indians are more prone to clotting, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLDs, and more prone to uh, heart disease as well as diabetes than our Western counterparts. So therefore, even the WHO has kept our waist circumference, the highest waist circumference, as lesser than what the rest of the world has been told to. Internationally, men cannot have a waist circumference higher than 40 inches and women not more than 35 inches. However, Indian men cannot have a waist circumference higher than 35 inches. And Indian women cannot have a waist circumference higher than 32 inches. Beyond that, you are prone to disease. Okay? Now, having said that, you talked about uric acid and therefore the liver getting toxic. Why is the uric acid going high? The uric acid, I mean, the latest research says the uric acid goes high because of intake of sweets, because of intake of fructose. Fructose is the culprit. So the fruits are not healthy anymore. Now, when you say fruit is not healthy, again, there's a lobby that says, what do we eat? So it's the whole fruit that you're supposed to be eating, not the fruit juices. So a lot of women come and very proudly tell me, you know, my breakfast, I have a glass of orange juice every morning. So my first reaction is, please stop having it. Because the fructose in the fruit juice supports raise in uric acid. And once the uric acid is risen, then it has that whole cascading effect, and then it affects your liver, and well, it leads to a whole lot of problems. Have I answered your question? Yeah. Okay. I'm right.
Dr. Mukherjee, one last question. In fact, there are two of them, but you can answer them in brief. I want to ask that every industry industry, in a decade has a boom. And nutrition, health, and fitness is the current boom. And it is so chaotic and confusing for even educated women like us. Everybody has got a different theory altogether. One day they say the fruit should be had, you should have the fruits before meal, or before your carbs, and some say it can be had as a dessert. And there's so many things going on. You say that protein should be had in the had in the afternoon, and some say it should be had in the evening. So how do we know right from wrong? Number two, and so much of organic thing is going around. Aloe vera juice, so many kinds are there, and all of us know that it is very healthy. But how do we figure out what is healthy and what is not healthy? Because what was healthy is no longer healthy anymore.
Right. So there are two questions that she's asked. I'll answer each one separately. The first is, what is the right thing to do? Because some people say eat eggs, others say don't eat eggs. Some say eat peanuts, others say don't eat peanuts. Eat fruits before, after, blah, blah. There's a whole lot of mess over there, right? Now, firstly, nutrition is far more fashionable today than it was in the yesteryears. Why? Because we are suffering from more and more and more medical problems which are nutritionally treatable. Medical science, unfortunately, has no answer for these kind of gas, bloat, distension. What will they give you? Antacids? That doesn't correct it. That just puts a band-aid on it. It doesn't really rectify your problem, right? So this is where we are currently. Also, nutrition is a new science. It's not more than 75 years old. I have personally been in this for 30 years. The longest I know anyone has been in this country in nutrition. So everyone's in their own stage of learning. Are you getting it? So they're learning. Someone's 5 years experience, someone's got 10 years, someone's got 15 years. They're all learning and figuring out, and therefore saying, do this, don't do that. Now, we as individuals go to ABC, get all these results. I'm going to say what I have gathered in 3 decades of experience. It is personalized nutrition. You are unique. There's no one like you, right? Your body has low level of iron, high calcium, estrogen, whatever. It's very specific to your system. I have to treat your system. I don't have to worry whether I have to eat only fruits till 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But my body feels terrible with, I have got hypoglycemia, for instance, in the morning. There are a lot of women who get headache and hypoglycemia when they don't eat. So you need to eat in the morning, and you cannot be on fruits till 12 in the afternoon. a lot of men who eat and drink till 1 o'clock in the night, they're partying. They can be eating fruits till 12. But someone who's had dinner by 7, as advocated, cannot have only fruits till 12 in the afternoon. So do you see, it has to be individual specific. So what is right or whatever is wrong is very specific for your body. So you need to get the right advice for you and not what is generally accepted. That is the first rule in nutrition. Second, you have to go to a specialist. You have to go to a specialist. You have to go to a specialist. We figure out your system for you. We've treated more than 4 lakh patients. We tell them exactly this is your body type, this is what you need to consume, and the highest rate of maintenance of body weight, maintenance of good health is what we maintain. We have 97% results, which means out of 100 people, 97 get the results. The 3% who don't get the results are those who are just not interested in following it. So that's how it is. Talking to you about your second thing, the organic foods. Let's learn the ABC first. Then let's do the PhD in, organic and all the stylish stuff. Organic is not meant for everyone. We need to first rectify, avoid eating maida, avoid eating packaged foods, eat right, do your basics. Once you have covered all that, you don't even need to eat organic. Your body will say thank you. Because it's really very easy to rectify the system. The rectification happens in as little as 7 days. It's as little as 7 days. But you just need to eat right first. Don't worry of all the expensive stuff, quinoa, and all those very, very fancy things. Don't even think about it. Your body has the detoxification mechanism if you give it support. But if you are doing wrong things to your system, you're taking alcohol, you're taking tobacco, you're taking drugs, you're taking packaged food, you're taking your maida, your sandwiches, I don't know what all. So if you're taking all of that, then, well, you need a lot of correction. And eating organic is not going to solve anything. It just gives you lesser pesticide load in your system, which is not even proved till date whether it's beneficial, because whatever pesticide we are using right now is the acceptable limit according to the government standards. Yes, there are pesticides, but those are the allowable pesticides. We are eating far more color and other things in restaurant food, in packaged food, that is far more harmful than this this handful of pesticides that we're talking about. Because when we see the larger picture in organic farming, how many people will you feed? There's not adequate food to feed the world if you go organic. We have to think of the larger picture. By synthetic farming, what they're doing using fertilizer, etc., you can feed a lot more people. So you need to understand those, dynamics. So look into yourself, correct yourself, do the ABCs right, and you're home. Don't have to worry about organic then. Okay? But not that organic is bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, it's good, but we don't need to do that. Yeah. There's someone who wants 1 second. Yeah. Go ahead.
I
Thank you.
yeah wanted to congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
I'm an anti-aging nutrition specialist myself. Anti-aging diet is what I prescribe. I have done protein nutrition training in the UK, and what I prescribe is very different from what you prescribe. And I know that every nutritionist in India has a different diet plan. So, what she was asking was that, some doctors prescribe eggs, some prescribe not, no, yolks or
What's the point? What do you?
yeah, the point is that I think that um, everybody may be right in their own way.
Sure.
I just really wanted to say that maybe they should just stick to one practitioner and not maybe listen to 2, 3 practitioners
We're
at
not
the
judging.
same time.
We're not judging. It's okay. People are free to go wherever. They just need to know what is right.
Yeah.
That's all. After that, you make an informed choice, and then you go wherever you feel is right.
But it's important to stick to a plan and to stick to one practitioner.
Okay. Thank you so much. You were a wonderful audience. Thank you. Thank you.